it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm really excited to film this video. As you can see by the title, it is a Meet My Husband marriage Q&A. If this is the first time you've seen my face, I am Kelly. Welcome to my channel, k.mcfall. I do a lifestyle and a travel channel. I want to get into more of that life part of my channel and kind of showing you guys what my day-to-day is. So this video is like kind of important because this man is my everyday life. I see him every single day, all day, in the morning and at night. So I definitely want you guys to get to know him as well, and we'll have some new content on this channel as well. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, my husband, the man, the love of my life, my other piece to my piece, Paul McFall.
Hey baby.
Hi babies.
What's going on, guys? Happy to be a part of the show.
Husband. All right, so about, I don't even embarrassed to say how long ago it was. On Instagram, I asked you guys to send me some questions, some marriage Q&A questions. It was literally like 7 months ago. So thanks for sticking around for this. But I'm going to read out those questions. There's about 7 of them, which is great because 7 is a number of completion. So before we get started, I did want to say a little piece about like how we met in the beginnings of time. So I met this one when I was in college. It was my senior year in your second year of grad school. And we met at a party, a pregame, a kickback, really a pregame like to the party, to the kickback itself. And if you guys want a full video about that, like actual like details about that story, we can definitely do that for you. But that's, yeah, we started dating probably like 2 or 3 months.
Let's say about that.
After we met, kind of got in the crew, got in his little friend crew. I was like, I like this guy. Neither of us were looking for a relationship at the time. We were like super single, kind of just doing our thing. And yeah, so we dated for 3 years and we've been married. Oop, other way around. We've been together, married for 3 years and together for 7. All right, so we're gonna get into the very first question. So this first one comes from my cousin. Hi, Mariah. It is, what are some cute spousal gestures Paul does for you and vice versa? I'll let you start.
Spousal
gestures.
What exactly is a spousal gesture, you say?
I think like something nice that like you do for me or like I do for you. Like little cute stuff. Cute spousal. Can't say it, won't say it. Moving on.
I think one of the coolest spousal gestures that Kelly does for me is I often get wrapped up in like my tech world and I like to talk about it to somebody, but the only person I can talk to is her because she's who I live with. And she will just kind of oblige me and, you know, listen to the conversation, and she'll give little tidbits in response. And I mean, like, I kind of greatly appreciate that because I ain't got nobody else to talk to, like I said. So, yeah, that's cool. I like you do that.
Okay. I would say some of the cute spousal gestures that Paul does for me are like writing notes on our mirror in like a dry erase, especially for like birthdays and like anniversary, like Valentine's Day. Because I don't know what it is about the last several apartments that we've had. We've always had like this expansive mirrors, like just mirror walls or like mirrored closets, or like in the bathrooms, like this huge like mirror. So I really like that. He'll write me like notes, like large notes across like the whole thing about, you know, just professing his love for me. Well,
No.
how long did you wait to get married, and what's the difference between marriage and dating? So that's like a 2-part question. So first part, how long did you wait to get married? How long did you wait to get married to me?
Well, I mean, I kind of got to the point where I would turn on my iPad and there would be pictures of rings as my background desktop, or turn on my computer, same thing. Or maybe mom comes over and that's the first thing she wants to talk about. But I knew I loved Kelly anyway, so came to a point where it's like, at some point, you just gotta start thinking about rings. And we would actually go to the store and look at the price of one. Go ahead and tack about 6 more months onto that. And then thought about marriage.
Yeah, so how long? How long did you wait to get married?
I mean, but that would be equivalent to the time that we started dating till the time that we ended dating. So
that's the question. How long did you wait to get married?
How long was that? We got married in 2015. We're together, what, in 2011? So, what, 4 years?
Yeah.
So, ultimately, from the time that we met to the time we got married was about 4 years, I'd say.
He proposed on our 3rd year anniversary, like, night. Like, waited to the very, like, 11:30 p.m. the night of our 3rd anniversary.
Which is like a whole nother story in itself. Like,
Yeah.
So
if you
sure
guys...
she's going to tell that right now or later or what, but...
So if you guys want to see that one, that can be a whole separate video. Just comment down below if you'd like to hear about our proposal. The whole night. All right. Second part of that question was, what's the difference between marriage and dating? Do you want to start or should I start? You want to give a male's perspective?
I would say the difference between marriage and dating is, one, when you're dating, you're not really sure of a person. So you're kind of in that stage where you're like really trying to figure each other out. Like literally trying to figure out if that person's like worth the time that you're going to give them for like the rest of your life if you plan on marrying them, and worth the effort. I mean, because everyone's not for everybody. You can't always judge a book by its cover. So marriage, it's for eternity. So you're already together. You have no choice but to get to know each other. And as long as you love each other, you'll deal with all the pitfalls. So there's no easy way out. You're married.
I will give like a biblical perspective, like a faith-based perspective, because we are Christians and we are believers. So I'd say like the major difference between marriage and dating, when you're dating that person, I don't think we weren't like courting each other. I don't think we were dating necessarily just to date, but we were dating in the sense like we're dating to get married. I wasn't just like dating him just to be like, oh, this is fun. Like he's a cool guy to just like hang out with and like be around. Like I was dating with the purpose of marrying. And that was kind of the only reason why I think we dated for so long, was because we were trying to get to that point. It's like, are we going to be married? Or are we just going to be like, this is a season of our life and then we're going to keep moving on? And I think for marriage, like the biggest difference, especially from a biblical perspective, is that it's a covenant. It's between you, your spouse, and God. Like God now sees you as one person, as one soul, and there's certain things in the Bible that he wants us to have within a marriage. So there's definitely a change there. If you aren't someone that comes from any kind of faith, or you don't have a faith, I don't think there's any difference there, but I do feel that it's a stronger relationship and a stronger connection when you're married, like versus dating. Like Paul said, it's kind of fleeting almost. It's like, there's the commitment is there, because obviously you don't want to be like a cheater and like cheating on your boyfriend or girlfriend. But when you're married, it's like, forget it. Like this is like, we need to set a foundation now and like for forever. We need to get this stuff right now, because if not, we're going to be like struggling. All right, third question. How soon did each of you realize y'all were the one for each other? How long were you the one? So I think for me, like I said before, when we both met, we weren't like any kind. There's no, I know I was super single. He was super single. Like we weren't looking to be in a relationship. So I think for me, it took a little bit longer to realize, not like the one per se, but when we were dating, like if I want to even be with this person or date this person, because I had been out of a relationship for about like a solid year, and I was just like doing my thing, like hanging with my girls, dating here and there, like nothing like super serious. And I don't think mentally I was necessarily ready to be in a relationship. So it took probably like 2 or 3 months, I would say, before I was like, okay, like I'm kind of like ready to like date this guy. Because I was like well invested in like his friends, like I was well connected with them, and like we always had a good time when we were together. But I think, and I remember like literally praying, and like this is like some really like casual like prayer type stuff, but I remember thinking, basically asking the Lord, like, if this stuff's gonna hit the fan, like let it hit the fan now, because I don't even want to waste my time, kind of thing. And then I was like waiting, I was like, is it gonna hit the fan? Is it gonna hit the fan? And it just got better. The fan was blowing breezes, cool breezes. So I was good. So what about you?
So I would say I realized when I wanted to date Kelly, kind of like when, we were just taking things slow, and I showed her like my wilder, adrenaline-filled side, like slowly but surely, and she was like okay with it. Like I want to get up in the morning and go jet skiing, she was down. Want to stay out till 4 o'clock in the morning, hit the club, she was down. I was like, you know what, this girl's cool. I like her. She's cute. Yeah, I think I'll ask her out.
She's cute.
So, dated for a while. And of course, everyone has like their ups and their downs and their differences and things like that. But it was just like, it was subtle enough to the point where, you know, like we could just talk about it and get past it pretty easily. It wasn't like a struggle, and it wasn't like the animosity kind of just like sat around. You know what I'm talking about? Like when you walk in a room and it's just like you can literally cut that awkwardness with a knife. Like it's there and you feel it. Like that didn't really exist with us. So, I mean, after that, and 4 years later, I realized that this girl like really, really just loves me, you know? And like it's hard to find someone that unconditionally just like loves you even after they've experienced all of your awkwardness and all of your quirkiness. And I mean, like after a while, it's just like I won't find anyone else that can love me as much as she does. So that's when you start thinking about marriage. Well, that's when I started thinking about marriage. And then I went ring shopping, and that's another story in itself.
Yes, it is. We may get into that one at some point. Save your coins, kids. Save your coins. Yeah. I won't say as far as like dating and then like in marriage. I don't necessarily know if you ever. I don't know if I believe in the concept of actually knowing like, hey, like this person is the one for me. Like in a single moment. I feel like it's a combination of a bunch of different moments over time. Like there wasn't one moment that was like, yep, this is it. Like this is the guy. Because like when Paul said like there's ups and downs and stuff. So like your brain can kind of switch back and forth. You're like, is this person the one? Like, is this someone that I want to continue like working towards a life with? And that's just like normal, like human life. Like you're going to have ups and downs. Like things are going to be sucky and things are going to be really great. So I think there's no point. I think it's like a combination of points that you're like, this is the one. And you're like, yep, that thing happened. This is the one. Like not like one moment that just like clicks on and it's like on forever kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next question. All right. So next question, fourth question. I feel like it's like 4.5 because that second question was kind of like 2 questions in one. Are you planning on having children? If so, how many? And that is from my girl Shelby, one of my favorite subscribers. Hi,
What's up,
Shelby?
Shelby?
Hi, Shelby. She's so awesome. She comments on all of my videos. Love it, love it, love it. So, how many kids? Do we plan on having kids?
Yeah.
Yes. We do plan on having children. We'd like to have a legacy. We'd like to extend our family. Family of 2 right now. Party of 2. McFall, party of 2. There could be party of 3. Party of 4, probably my max. Like, probably my max. In my household, it's just me and my sister. And then in his household, he has 2 younger brothers. So that's like 3 and 2. But I think like a good old average, like right smack in the kind of middle of that would be 2.
I would say 2.
Yeah.
2 is good.
Yeah.
I mean, so as far as when we're going to have kids, I would say like right now we're currently kind of just like working on ourselves, which we've been doing for the past couple of years. And it's getting to the point where we're doing all right. We're doing pretty good, right? But we got like maybe like two or 3 more steps. And then I think in about 2 years, we'd be ready. Or 2.5, I don't know.
Or 2.
I don't know what that look means in her eyes.
Maybe like 1.5 to 2. We'll see.
We'll see.
Any like basic level for me as far as like having children, like in my mind, like I always knew that I would have children like in my 30s. Like I would be 30 something having kids. I think that's because like my mom didn't have me, like my parents didn't have me until my mom was 29 and my dad was 30. So like in my brain, it was like your 20s are kind of like reserved for, like Paul said, like just getting yourself together, figuring yourself out. And this is like not like everyone has different choices about what they want to do in life. But for me personally, it was always like I knew it would be in my 30s at some point. Because 20s, my parents were like moving around, like traveling the world because they were in the military. So got to move around a lot. And they were like international and they were visiting different countries. So I always kind of envisioned that for me and my future spouse, which happens to be this one. And thank goodness he's on the same page with that. Oh, fine. So definitely like 20s, I was like, like had it happened earlier, I probably mentally, but no. I'm good. I'm good with 30. I'm 28 right now. I will be 29 in 2019. So yeah, year and a half, 2 years, like 2 solid years. Party of 3. And then we'll figure it out after that because I don't know about the second child. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. Okay, so question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on 5 now. All right. So it says marriage has ups and downs. Care to share any of your downs and how you got past it? Dun dun dun. This is real, guys. Real life. Go ahead, babies. Share your downs.
This spit just come out real quick. All right. So marriage, right?
Right.
2 different people, 2 different backgrounds coming together, sharing everything and spending their lives together forever, right? I mean, like, I come from a very, just different background. I mean, my mom was a teacher. My dad was a chemist. I was always into, like, biology and technical stuff and going to the movies and, just different things than what Kelly's used to. So when 2 people are just like so different and you come from different things, you have different likes, right? I mean, it's hard to kind of like really find things that you both like really have in common, that you both like over the long term, right? Like I'm not just like pretending anymore to like what she likes because we're married now. And sometimes I don't want to watch the Kardashians. You know what I'm saying? So
I do all the time.
It's like you have to find like a happy medium, especially like when it comes to like bigger things, like where you want to take your life. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, she may see us one way in 5 years, like between now and 5 years, and I see us in a different light between now and 5 years, right? So like those are things that you should definitely talk about, because if you keep just kind of pulling away from each other every time you catch like a hint from the other person of like, where they think will be, and you're just like, oh no, that'll never happen, like, or heck no, like we're definitely not doing that, right? I mean, right, as you progress, like that can build up into resentment. Especially if someone like really starts pulling you
right, like if your guys are completely going in a different direction from what like you envisioned for yourself. Like we're 2 people, but like we still have individual interests.
Yeah, like I mean, just an example, like what if I just got a job and was like, hey babe, we're moving to Alaska. I doubt she's gonna be down with that, right? So that's a good example. But so one of the things that I did find that we had in common was that one, she really liked decorating things, right? And for our entire wedding, like she put like that whole thing together. Like she built up like the centerpieces, she built all the designs and decorations, right? And what I really had fun with at our wedding was like just like kind of filming it. So I like had like a little GoPro and I filmed it, and I enjoyed like the festivities and capturing the moments, right? So I came with an idea to start like a wedding videography business called Capital Films DC. Shameless plug. But
here it is, the words.
But yeah, so from there we started this company together that we both had actual interest, invested into it. Like she started the coordination side of it, I started the videography side of it. It was something that we were doing together on the weekends. It took us away from like spending crazy money on parties and getting drunk all the time. Stuff you do in your
young
20s. But yeah, I mean, we got like a little like really serious with it, and it kind of went from just like a hobbyist type of thing to like our profession. That it's nice to have something that like even if you're like, let's say I come home from work and she's like really upset with me, right, about something. It's nice to have a topic that we can jump on and kind of just like leave the angriness behind because we got some business that we need to handle together, right? And we have that, which is awesome. It's a nice getaway from any animosity that might build. But then, you always need to go back and address that stuff as well.
Right.
So
what would you describe as like the down part? Like what from that, like that piece, like what was the negative part about that?
The negative part is just like the struggle that you go through with really trying to get to know each other and invest in each other's interests and goals that will affect you both in the long term. Like the questions that hit your mind, like the thoughts of some of the things that the other person might have said that you really struggle with, but you don't know how to address them to that person because it might be really awkward, right? I would say in marriage, like you gotta like let that awkward stuff kind of go. Like you need to bring up issues when you have them. Like if you have a problem with something, you need to voice it and not like kind of just like throw it back in the back of a trunk and leave it there and think about it until you get really upset, and then one day you're drunk and you just spill it. You spill it in some crazy way to the other person who's already having fun. They're just like, where the hell did this come from?
Yeah, so I think that segues into like the question itself was like marriage has ups and downs, like describe like one of our downs. I would say honestly, and I think this is for a lot of married couples, like our first year of marriage was like no bliss. Like it wasn't. I think our first year of marriage was the worst year of like our relationship. Like at that time, like we had been together for 4 years, and that first year of marriage was like our worst fights, our worst arguments, like just anger, like just the resentment, like whatever was built up in there, like came out, which is another thing that I think that God does, like when you enter marriage, because dating, when you're in your dating phase, like that person doesn't change in marriage. Like once you get married, they become like a husband. Like I think that's like a lot of issues in that first year is like when people come in with unrealistic expectations. And I don't think that was the case for us, but I do think that is for a lot of people, which is why I mentioned it. Like nothing changes, but if there is something in there that like needs to get stirred up, like God's gonna find it and expose it. And ours just came out in like communication and like really understanding like the long-term plan of like what our life and our relationship was going to be. And not necessarily we were making like big decisions in our first year, but it was just, I don't know what it was. It was like 365 days from like the day of marriage. Honeymoon was fine. We didn't have no problems on honeymoon. But like when we came back home from like, you know, paradiso, it was like, okay, cool. Like real life is here. And then like he mentioned like going out and you're with your friends and you have like these like a little unsettled things, and then after a while, like if you don't address those, like they just come out randomly in like drunken fights. So I definitely think for me it was more of a choice of one, learning how to choose my battles, like which arguments I'm kind of gonna like go hard on to, or ones I'm just gonna be like, you got it, like I'm just gonna like fall back on it, because there's kind of like no point in like two people being all fiery and like blown up. And also like the way that we speak to each other, like I think we were like really mean. Like words can like really, really cut. Like life and death lives in the tongue. And that is like so true. And I think we really cut each other for our first several like months of our marriage. And we learned how we need to speak to each other so that it's not like this long lasting, like that hurt me here and I'm going to think about that for several months. Because you can't do that. As Paul mentioned, like you just can't let things like sit because they'll just explode to something. So that was one of our biggest lessons coming out of our first year of marriage, was like how we need to speak to each other, how we need to address things. And it was completely different. I think we both came outside of our own personalities within that time. Like it wasn't something that's like this, you know, like this new character. We just like busted out with new people our first year. But I would definitely describe that as like our first like down, like a down part of our relationship. Like it was like, we good. And it was like, this is real life. Here we go. And I think how we got past that was just straight up raw, real communication. Just telling each other like how we felt in a proper way, like in a proper, appropriate way, but a truthful way, like a really truthful, honest way. And then that kind of just turned into lifestyle. Like it just turned into our lifestyle. It came into like a good habit. Whenever we have an issue, whether we need to cry it out, whether we need to like talk about it, because we'll cry. Because we'll cry together, okay? Don't be scared to cry. Like whether it's like tears or whether it's just like anger and like a nice productive way, then I think that's like how you get past it. It's just like hitting it head on and addressing it.
All right.
Next question. All right, guys. So I realized in the beginning that we had 7 questions, but 2 of the questions are kind of like the ones that we already answered. So I thought I would just give you guys, or we would give you guys just like one more piece each of advice and then kind of like wrap it up, and then we can see whatever you guys want. Be sure to comment down below if you guys want to see more videos like this. Yes, we have matching hoodies on. Well, Paul says they're not hoodies because they don't have hoods. This is what I call hoodies. Right? These are, okay, they're sweatshirts. I think they're called jumpers in the UK. I think the British call them jumpers. There's like a whole, I think. Patricia Bright. Check her out. Anywho, so we're going to give you guys one more piece of advice. If you guys want to see more videos like this, be sure to comment them down below. Also, go ahead and subscribe to Paul's channel. He has tons of great content, very technical stuff if you're all good for the editing skills. And then some of our travel vlogs for the last like couple of years.
You gonna link me? Am I gonna be like here or like
here?
Here? Okay.
Here.
All right, cool.
Here. Right there. In my hand.
Subscribe.
Yes. Chocolate sexy. Anyway, so I will say last piece of advice is when you are dating someone, especially if you guys think you're going to get serious at one point, like start talking about marriage and things like that. Just realize that you are going to marry the person you're dating. The person's not going to change to be somebody else. They're not going to become like this magical miracle person. They're not going to become perfect when you get married. Like whoever you are dating, accept them for like those pieces of who they are, and don't have unrealistic expectations of who that person's going to be like once you guys get married. And a perfect way to remedy that is just have those discussions about what your expectations are as a spouse before you get married. Like, do you expect your wife to be cleaning the house every day and you have nothing to do with that? Or do you expect your husband to be the breadwinner? Do you plan on quitting your job when you guys get married and raising a household? You know, things like that are really important. And just like the basics of who they are. Like, you know this person's personality. Like, I knew who Paul was before we got married, and I knew it wasn't like all of a sudden just gonna like switch it up and be like, hey, cool, I like everything that you like now. That's just like not realistic. So that's my piece of advice.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna tack on to that, but I think she covered the whole like no one's gonna change for you type of thing after marriage. Like people are gonna be who they are. As far as something else I was gonna talk about was all right, I just left my mind. Okay. Yeah, but something else I want to talk about was basically like I think we hit on it earlier. Like in the beginning, we used to fight and kind of like talk really recklessly to each other, and like I feel like you should establish a simple agreement in your relationship that you won't call each other names. One, just certain boundaries, right? Especially that you can put into place during like arguments and fights and things like that. Because the second you start doing that stuff, the more you're gonna keep doing that stuff. And words hurt, and they actually do leave something, you know, laying around in the other person's mind. And over a long period of time, that weight becomes heavy, and you don't know what type of consequences that might have in your relationship. So I would definitely say always treat each other with respect. Even in fights, you know, even in war, there's rules, right? Like for real, like even in like war between countries, there's rules. So like in a fight with your significant other, have rules, have some type of what was I gonna say? Have some type of baseline for your arguments. That's pretty much it. Yeah,
I think those are good. So those are our two last pieces of advice for you guys. I can't say it enough. If you guys would like to see more videos like this, definitely give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe and join the McMafia. I will link these down below if you guys want some matching hoodies with your significant other. Hashtag matching hoodies 2019. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this, and you'll be seeing more of this chocolate sexy jawline right here on this channel. I will see you guys next time in my next video. Bye, guys.
Peace. Let's make sure nothing was in my nose.
Boogies up and down, man. Come out on camera.
I'm good.
Good?
All right. Yeah, I'm good.
And cut it. Hopefully.
I mean, does it look bad?
It just looks dry.
What if I like it?
It looks a little better. It looks better.